Hey, this is Gerald. I wanted to clarify something here. You know, I wanted to clarify a remark I made of why I stepped away from the church when I did at the time, and how I got convicted. Um, at the time, I started speaking, and it was going great. I seen people coming to the altar. I mean, everything seemed like it was just going fine. I seen uh, moves of God. I seen some really great things in the Lord. I seen the Lord being glorified and stuff like that, and it was great. And but you got to understand something. I also was seeing behind the scenes of the church and these pastors and what I saw going on at the time, and it seemed they always wanted to put new carpet down. And I would look around and I would see that the carpet was barely faded and didn't have no holes in it. It wasn't even worn. And I was thinking, why spend all that money on this new carpet? And then they always wanted to add new pew padding every year. And I was thinking, these are fine. I mean, I was literally there looking at this, and there what they were talking about this stuff, and or they wanted to get so and so that's just master woodsman and stuff to make a this grand altar with this thousands of dollars, oak wood thing for the preacher to stand behind and speak, or they wanted to put up these big giant crosses behind them, or thousands of dollars of solid oak, or that 8 and 10 foot high or whatever, or have these big murals painted behind them and pay an artist, thousands of dollars to do it or whatever, and it started bothering me. I was thinking to myself, well, you know, where you are doing this and you are making sure everybody's out of here before football time on Sunday and this and that, I don't care if the people are comfortable, but you know, you know, I don't care if they got to come in there and sit on their fists and lean back on their thumb. Did you know during the Great Awakening, the real Great Awakening, um, uh, I think it started somewhere around May 24th of 1738. John Wesley, he spoke 600 times, and only 6 times inside of a building, a church. He had 600 sermons, and only 6 of those was inside the church. Now, my point being this, um, it bothered me that I didn't see a real problem except for a slight fade here and there in the carpet, that they wanted to add new carpet. It bothered me that the pew padding seemed fine to me, and yet every year they wanted to replace it. It bothered me that, and I'll tell you why all this bothered me. It bothered me that they were spending so much money to get the numbers up in the church. They were spending so much money for people to come in and be like, "Oh wow, this feels like home. This is such a comfortable, warm, friendly church." That bothered me. That bothered me because let me tell you something. Men's hearts need to be stirred. This it ain't a place to go and sit down and go to sleep for an hour and get up and go home on Sundays and Wednesday nights or whatever. It's not a place to go and for you to be comfortable and so you can be comfortable while you're hearing some man give his opinion instead of giving the word of God or something. It, and so these things started to bother me. I started seeing the things going on behind the churches, and it wasn't to really win souls so much as it was to get the numbers up, to get more money pouring into that church. Um, that's the things that really bothered me. If I go speak somewhere, I don't care if it's in a field. I don't care if you're standing in the mud or pig dung or cow manure. I could care less, because here's the thing: if a man of God is speaking somewhere, Um, even Charles Spurgeon, he used to get up and go have sermons at 5 o'clock in the morning, and people would gather in the fields just to hear him. Hundreds and hundreds of people would come from miles and stuff just to hear him get up and speak. And sometimes he'd speak, like once or twice or three times a day, and people would go gather wherever he was to hear this man preach. And so, and that didn't cost them a dime, you know. They didn't need money for new padding or new pews or new, and even as far as the pew padding, hey, take all that up and throw it outside. People can sit on a well built oak pew, you know, for 45 minutes or an hour, since you're getting it done so quick. Back in the day, men would preach for hours upon hours upon hours. They didn't give us set time so you could go see the game. They didn't give us set time so you could get out of here and go to Arby's or something, or go to, Cracker Barrel with the family or something like that. These were real men of God who preached what God put on their hearts. And if they felt like preaching for 5 hours, they would preach for 5 hours. And I didn't like that about what I was seeing. And when I would see them put down all this new stuff, I was thinking to myself, well, so and so down here just got their lights cut out. Well, this family over here don't have money to get their kids, clothes to start school in. This family over here is hungry. This family over here don't have water. This family over here, their car blew up on them. This family's house caught on fire. And I just seen so much money, and I've said this once before a long time ago, and let me just say this one more time. If you walked into a church and you got into the aisle that led down to the altar, and the aisle was worn down, and then down near the altar, you got down near the altar, and the red carpet was discolored and turning orange and yellow and even fading into white, and right there at the altar, and all around the altar, there was little pits and stuff that went all the way down to even the wood, and even going down to the altar, that it was worn down to the nub, and even down to where the wood was showing and stuff. And um, wouldn't that itself be a testimony if you walked in and you seen an altar like that, to where that so many people had wailed and cried and given their life to Christ? Isn't that what it's really about? Isn't that what it's really about? And let me say this about revival. Revival is not a work in the church. Revival is a work of the church in the world. Revival is not a work in the church, it's a work of the church in the world. Selah. Give that some thought. God bless you.